Hey everyone, let's try this again. This is a bit of a work vlog. As you can tell, it's about 12:07 right now, and no, I'm not scheduled for work today or tomorrow, but I am scheduled to do the mid-afternoon to midnight closing this Saturday. So yeah. But what's funny about that is the next day I get a 4-hour shift, and then I'm off the next 2 days after that. So, go figure. But, I'll say this about my work this week. It's been very interesting, especially with the fact that we just had Memorial Day weekend. And of course, we've got another event coming up starting tomorrow called the Apricot Fiesta, and of course that's going to make business boom, and well, of course, make people want to use a lot of carts to bring stuff in. But anyway, like I said, it's been a very interesting week. I will say this: it's been one of my better weeks, and that's saying a lot. Let's just put it this way. Yes, I've had my CSMs get on me a few times, but not really. You see, one CSM has gotten on me maybe once or twice, but then it's been kind of more apologetic, kind of shown that, she didn't really mean it. She would smile and all that, so kind of like, hey, I didn't really mean how I acted towards you and all that. It's just the higher ups are getting on us to get these done and blah, 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 blah. And I keep saying to them, and I'm sure and they do agree, that not one person can always do the job. I mean, essentially, they need to have 2 cart pushers coming in. Not about the same time. Well, let's put it this way. On holidays, yes, they need cart pushers coming in about the same time so you could have a balancing out. But, again, one person cannot handle the job all by themselves, and I think they know that. It's just that when they get pressure put on them, it stresses them out, and they end up doing and saying and acting towards their associates, which they don't really want to do because they don't want to drive that associate away. And this one CSM, she's very nice, very kind and understanding. In fact, she says I'm one of the better cashiers they've had in a while, even though I haven't really cashiered that much. But still, she does get a little, tough at times, but she doesn't really mean to. So it's like, hey, you got to get this done. That's all. Basically, if they get on her, basically it's the same with all CSMs. They get on us, the higher ups get on them, they get on us. But the CSMs that I've dealt with are more forgiving and more understanding. That's a lot more to say than one guy that is a cool individual. He's a good guy. He's down to earth at times when you get to know him. But it's very by the book, and this is and that is the Michael CSM. You see, he's by the book, and what's funny is, I would tell Tyler, and I would tell some of the new guys, and an established guy named Omar, who all do carts along with me, that Michael is a by the book kind of guy. He's a good guy, he's a fun guy. He's cool, he's down to earth at times, but he's a by-the-book kind of guy. In other words, what I mean by the book is he's more like you got to get it done right off the bat. You got to get it done, you got to get it done. Go, 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 go. Hop to it, hop to it, hop to it. And I'm sure any job has that kind of an individual. And sometimes that kind of an individual will let the stress get to them even more so. And what I mean? Well, over this past Memorial Day weekend, he got on me not once but twice. Once for miscommunication, and the second time because the carts weren't getting in as quickly. The miscommunication was the fact that I had gone to break. I was doing a 4.5-hour day, so I was going to my break. There was a miscommunication. They thought I was going to lunch, when in fact I was just going to my break, and of course I was checking my schedule and all that. And yeah, that probably didn't help, but still there was a miscommunication. And by having a miscommunication, he got on me about that. And I respectfully, I said, okay, thank you, I appreciate what you're telling me, I'll try to work on it. But then he comes out and tells me, oh, you need this, you need to get the carts in, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I can understand where he's coming from with that. I can understand where he's coming from with that, you know. That, oh, you need to get the carts in, you need to make sure these get in, that gets in. Again, I can understand where he's coming from with that. But you don't need to come to me and say, hey, if the assistant managers or the higher ups basically come down on me, then I'm going to come down on you. And basically, and this is one of these things he said. He said, if I got to go down, I'm taking you guys with me. Now, you can misinterpret that and say, now you can interpret, well, not misinterpret, but you can interpret that as to saying, it sounds like he's threatening you. And it does sound like a threat. It does sound like a threat. Because basically what he's saying is, hey, if I got to go down swinging, I'm taking you all with me. I ain't going alone. So basically he's telling me that if myself, Tyler, Omar, and some of the new guys don't pick up the slack, if he's got to go down, he's going to drag us all with him. He might as well be telling that to the cashiers as well. Hey, if you guys don't get your job done quickly, get these people out, get these customers out of the lines quickly, if I got to go down because of this, I'm taking you with me. You don't do that. Even if, the way I look at it, you don't say that kind of thing even if you're under stress. Now I did mention this to some of the CSMs the day after, which was Sunday, and they basically chopped it up to he was stressed. But still, you cannot say that kind of stuff even if you're under stress. It's like an old saying, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the fire. And here's the one thing about Michael though. I mean, again, he's a good guy, down to earth when he can be. You get along with him very well. There's no doubt about it. And that's the truth. But here's the thing about Michael. He's a CSM, but it looks like he's trying to act more like an assistant manager. Why do I say that? Well, here's the thing about CSMs. CSMs still wear the traditional Walmart uniform, which is the bright blue, or which is the bright blue or navy blue shirts or t-shirts, and the khakis or the khaki shorts, the tan khakis or khaki shorts, whatever you want to call them. He doesn't do that much. What he does is he wears a long sleeve shirt, just like an assistant manager does. Sometimes he'll wear khakis, not really, but most of the time it'll be jeans or slacks. And then sometimes he'll just wear a regular t-shirt like sometimes some assistant managers do, advertising this or that. And it's like, okay, you're supposed to be a CSM, why don't you dress like the other CSMs? And that tells me that he's on the verge of being an assistant manager, or maybe being a store manager someplace else, but we don't really know. We don't know the answer to that. And then here's the thing. One of the girls I get along with well, she's a department manager. Well, she's sort of an associate department manager kind of deal. Melanie, who's very sweet, very kind, always has a cheerful personality. Don't get me wrong about that. She's being trained to be possibly a temporary, if not permanent, CSM. And she was being trained by Michael, which tells me if she's going to be a new CSM and she's going to be up there in the front area, it tells me either Michael remains a CSM or because he's training her, he's moving up. And that could be good and that could be bad. Because if someone like Michael is already letting stress get to him at times, even in the CSM position, how good is he going to be as an assistant manager? Not very good, unless, like I said, he's going to go to another store and be a store manager or be a new assistant manager. Now, I'm not saying Michael's not going to do a good job as an assistant. Believe me, sometimes being an assistant takes the pressure off you of certain duties and puts the pressure on the other people. Now I know you're saying that's kind of, now you might say, well, that's kind of good news goes bad news. Not really. Not really, because it all depends on what section, what hours you're going to be the assistant managing of at the store. So, he could end up being an assistant manager of overnights, for all we know. But the point is, besides that, in a few situations to where Fa, that's what her name is, would come out and talk to me about the cart situation as well, in which she would also, you could kind of tell, be, in her own way, kind of be forgiving about, she would smile and thank me and all that, basically saying, hey, don't worry about it kind of deal. Kind of tell you that she didn't really mean to be that way towards you. Right. Sorry about that, I said right. I'm just thinking a lot right now. Now, but basically, she would be, basically she'd be forgiving, she'd basically kind of show you that she didn't really mean really didn't mean to sound the way she did, if you get what I'm saying. So right there, that's what I meant to say. I meant to right there. So I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit. My first day off, it's a day off for me and very relaxing, if you will. So I trying to relax my mind. Anyway, besides that, and like I said, I know I sound like a broken record, she would kind of show that she didn't really mean to act like that. The thing is, it's not really easy, with carts. It's not really easy. I mean, it is easy. I'll give the benefits to this. This is the benefit. The benefit is you don't really have to rely, here's the benefit. The benefit is you're outside. Yes, you got to put the sunscreen, especially if it's a warm day, a hot day, and the sun's just beating down on you. But the benefit about this is you don't have to worry too much about anything. You don't have to worry about the time. Well, in a way you do when it comes to your breaks and your lunch, and getting off. But you don't have to worry about looking at the time all the time, because constantly, when you're outside doing your job, time goes by fast. I mean, there have been a couple of instances this past week when I've done the 8 to 5, I've come in, and time has just gone by like that. But again, it doesn't help sometimes but again, even though that's one of the benefits about it, and yes, you get some water and you get to cool off a little bit, especially if it's hot, take frequent breaks. But it doesn't help sometimes, like on a day-to-day, like today and yesterday, where it's as windy as heck, or if it's a Memorial Day weekend or something like the Fiesta coming up, because you're doing the best you can, but the more you do, the more you have to do later on. Let me explain. You see, when I've come in over the past few mornings, everything looks great. Overnight, or whoever's doing it has done a great job. So it made it a little easier for me. But as time went on during the day, things would get a little harder at times. Not really. But it mostly would get hard towards the afternoon hours. Because basically, we would have enough carts in there for a while, enough carts, to where even if I had to push up the carts so the customers could reach them with ease, it wouldn't be a problem. But then, we get later on, it's like more of a problem. It's like, what is the, and to me, sometimes I'll be like, what is the point of doing this during the day when pretty much we could fill up, it's like, we could fill up from like right over here. I don't think you can see me, but let's say you can see my hand, right? Like right here. What's the point of filling up from like right here and then filling up all the way to here? I don't think you can see my hand, but there we go. Like from there all the way past over to where I'm hitting this wall right there. here? What's the point of doing all that if suddenly people are going to keep taking the carts out, and taking the carts out, and taking the carts out? It doesn't make sense unless you have more than one cart associate, or you have help. And that's why sometimes I think they should just go and make this an overnight job. Or at least have it begin as like a, I don't know, a morning, well, maybe a morning job, but mostly make it so where your cart service comes in around maybe mid-afternoon or late morning, mid-afternoon, and it continues on. Or at least add on an additional cart associate run during overnights. That's the way I look at it. You know, because when people like me have to go in, like I'm going to Saturday, and work till midnight, and we can't have, and this is what the computer says. This is what the computer says. Anytime we use our badge to scan in, anytime we scan our badge and to clock in, it says, this is what it says, absolutely no OT unless authorized by the store managers. So you're telling me that come Saturday, which is Apricot Fiesta Day 2, and it's going to be busy, that I cannot go over 12 o'clock. Makes sense, right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But again, here's the point in that. Here's the point in that. All right? Again, here's the point in that. What sense does it make? Unless you have more than just one person doing the carts. It doesn't make any sense. And then on top of that, you got to go and get the mobile electric carts that the handicapped people use, or the people with disabilities or handicapped they use most of the time. And that was my dog. She just bit herself. And that was my dog. She just bit herself when she's trying to scratch. So, anyway, what is the point? What is the point of doing all that unless you have more than one person? I mean, I can understand if it's a slow day and it's easy, and you've already had, let's say I'm going to go in and I've already had cart pushers already putting stuff in and makes it look easy. That's fine. I get that. It makes it easier for me, I hope. But what's the point? You see, that is what I'm trying to drive home here. There is no real point unless you could find a way to make sure things are stable. And you know what? It's not really my fault either. It's not my fault. It's not the CSM's fault. Heck, sometimes it's not even some of the assistant managers' faults. If it's anybody's fault, it's the customers. Because the customers are the ones that decide, oh, we'll just park the car over here, no big deal, la 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 la. You know what these customers are trying to do? And I'm sure anybody watching this works in retail, any kind of business that deals with cars. You know exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get insurance. Yeah, one of the things Fa told me yesterday, and I'm sure this was probably out of stressfulness, because I know she's not the kind that means to say this kind of stuff. But basically, she gets a report that they have 2 calls already. 2 calls already of carts hitting cars. Well, you know what? Maybe that wouldn't happen if customers would put them in the damn corrals. You see, I know what they're trying to do. Myself and anybody else watching this pretty much knows what these people want. They want insurance. They want money. And you know what? You want money, you want insurance, here's what you do. You want money? Here's what you do. As people used to tell me, get a job. Don't try to go and sue a company for such and such dollars because you're too lazy. the fact is, yes, we card associates, and yes, the store out there, whatever store you might work for, yeah, we're responsible, but it's not entirely our fault because you want to go out and you technically want, you're too lazy basically to go and put the carts back in the corral, or at least push them up back to the garage and put them inside. You know, it would help cart people, courtesy associates, cashier cart associates, if you like myself, it would help us if people would just stop being lazy about putting carts back in the corrals. You're not going to get insurance because pretty much a lot of stores have cameras all over the place. So deal with it. Wake up and deal with it. Don't be lazy. And I'm sure anybody watching this will flat out agree about that. You will flat out agree these people need to stop being lazy because that's exactly what they're being. That's exactly what they are being. They are being freaking lazy. And they know it. So if you don't want the wind to blow a cart into your car, if you don't want to have to go through like an obstacle trying to get out the door or out of the exit door of your store, of the store you're shopping at, you don't want to have to deal with obstacles like that, trying to maneuver around. Oh, gee, I don't know. Put the carts back where they belong, or put them in the appropriate place, which is the corrals. You see, I don't have a problem with my job. Yeah, sometimes it may get hard because Lord knows people want you to push yourselves to limits that maybe you'll end up passing out. The fact is, folks, the real people to blame here is the customers. And that's all I'm going to say. But overall, though, it's been a good day. It's been a good week. One of the better weeks. And hopefully the next week or so will be even better. And maybe I'll get the cashier again. Maybe I'll get the cashier again, because the good news out of this past week, not once but twice I got the cashier. Once for 30 minutes, another for about an hour. So, we'll see what happens. But that's all I'm going to say, folks. Thank you for listening to me rant a little bit with this vlog and kind of talk about the week. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I'll talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.